They
Right.
just the whole market
Yeah,
is
Michael Burry. Yeah.
Michael Burry. Yeah, that's what it
Michael
was.
Burry, that's
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Yeah, anything like that, and everybody just spooks and just you know, it's one of those touchy stocks. It's just so touchy, but in the long run, it just keeps they come out with something new. Like they get a new contract every week, and it's like, oh crap, $1 billion here, $1 billion there. They just, it's hard to keep up. But yeah, that's one of my one
Right.
company that I go to.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Let's take a little while. Let me just search Google. Oh, there you go. Okay, here it is. Okay, so NVIDIA, PEG ratio. Yeah, Palantir is just off the charts. Like
Yeah,
on every possible ratio, it's off the charts.
yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
like NVIDIA is already expensive, and Palantir is like a whole new level. You know.
Yeah.
The thing is with Palantir that makes it also so efficient, it's not really making any material. It's selling its license for its
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
product,
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
So
a
it's like
software company rather than hardware, right?
software company. So
Yeah.
that's one thing that why its rule of 40 is just so high. It's like they got nothing to really waste their money on, you
Yeah.
know.
Mhm. But this sort of goes into what we're going to be working on. What I what I what I did, I don't know, it was last whenever it was almost a year ago, I guess. But I what I did is I sold a put on Palantir and bought a pretty far out of the money call. And so I financed the call with the put, right? Or you can think of it as synthetic stock. I mean, basically you're super long, right? But obviously, obviously that was a really good thing to do. But what I was going to suggest here is the same thing. I mean, so I sold like a 6 month put, and then I bought the leap, whatever, two or three, whatever it was, um, with that. And then my idea, I didn't know if Palantir was, I had no idea, of course, that it was going to explode. But my thought was that, so I bought this leap call, and the put is like, I don't know, a third of the price or something that I sold it for, but it's going to expire in 6 months. And then what I was going to do is then sell another one, right? So eventually I financed the call. So, my thought was if um, if it doesn't actually go up, if it doesn't go up, I can, I won't lose any money because I'm financing it with by selling the put. And I think that's the same idea you could use on these energy stocks, right? Because if you think they're going to go up, you might as well uh, sell a put and then buy the call. So you're basically long.
I mean, th that sounds like good, but you also can use the Greeks too, I've been using the Greeks too. Like if I buy a call, I haven't got it to work yet, but I want where the delta is at least 95 or 91% or higher, right? So I'll be like, okay, buy a
Oh,
delta.
you
That's
want
my
an in the money call? You're buying it in
huh?
the money?
No, I'm buying it not well, I'm buying it in the money, yes, but I want it with the delta is at least 91% or higher.
Yeah, it's very deep in the money, actually.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
really deep
that's
in the
very
money. So
deep in the
you're,
money.
I
Yeah.
That's
mean,
why I
it's
want
like,
it. I think it'd be better if it's very deep. I know they're more expensive, but they're more deeper in the money,
Well, you're
and it's
taking less
also
risk, right? If you're
well,
doing
yeah,
that.
you're
yeah.
taking less risk, but you're not going to get, I mean, if it explodes, yeah, you're going to get, it's sort of like, I mean, it depend. I guess one reason to do that is, well, on my account, I have portfolio margin, so it doesn't matter so much. But I used to do that when I didn't, and it's sort of the margin requirement is a lot less, right? It's about half of what it is to buy the stock. So that's another issue.
Yeah, no, that's the downside of it. uh, that's the downside of it, but um,
Yeah. So
yeah.
by
So
the way,
huh?
here are some of the ratios, by the way, if you guys are looking at my screen.
Uh-huh.
PE ratios for Palantir, NVIDIA, Google, Meta, or PEs, price of sales. And
Yeah,
then I got the PEG ratios up here
Right.
for the power
Yeah.
companies.
But what I was curious about is not what they are now, but what Amazon's and like Nvidia's was uh, you know, a few years ago. right? I mean, because like Nvidia exploded what in I don't know, it was a couple years ago, right? I mean, I know they had a stock split, and you know, maybe we should ask it what's the historically the greatest like peg for tech stocks, you know, and then we then compare, you know. So I'm just trying to do a comparison with, you know, I mean, is it like outrageous? I mean, is, you know, is Palantir going to crash and burn, or, you know, is it going to be uh
I mean, a peg ratio of 7 is pretty crazy. You know, like
yeah.
that's pretty out there, man. But the with earnings, you got to be careful with earnings because a lot of companies they can on purpose keep their earnings low, right? Like
Hmm.
like Amazon, they did that for many, many years. They kept their
Yeah,
earnings artificially low just by spending a lot, right?
right,
They did not want to report earnings, right?
right.
But sales are harder to hide, right? If you have if all the ratios around your sales are very high, then that's different. That's why I was looking at price to sales ratios for a lot of these guys, right? So like Palantir price to sales is like off the charts. It's 110. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Like that's really high. That's 5 times
Wow. Yeah,
Nvidia,
yeah,
maybe
yeah,
more than 5 times. Actually, more than 5 times, almost 6 times Nvidia.
yeah,
Like that's wild. Like
yeah,
It is.
I don't know. When I
It,
realized that, and Michael Burry's report came out, I'm like, you know what? Maybe I'll get rid of this for now. We don't need a
yeah.
whole. I made enough money off of
yeah,
it. I'm like,
yeah,
Yeah, I was the same boat, but I mean, with the Trump administration saying we're going to spend more on defense, that's the number one thing that people are going to spend on.
yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to switch my boat now because if they
Yeah,
get more government contracts, it's just going to go up more. And these are not like 1 year contracts; these are like 10-year contracts for $1 billion.
yeah, they're
So
like the best contracts you can get as a company. If you get government contracts, you're basically set.
yeah, they're set. And I mean, that's what I'm saying. And there's just it's going to be positive cash flow coming in for sure. And then if they announce dividends or if they announce a stock split to make it more affordable, reverse on there, it would just shoot up too. But
yeah,
you just never know. It's just one of those stocks that's like holy cow, it's freaking blew up and any little gust of wind is gonna just make it just crumble, you know.
Yeah. Well, you
Yeah.
also got to think about like, it's that $500 billion valuation, right? 8 times more, and it's gonna be the biggest company in the world, right?
mhm,
So, I mean, how much bigger can you get? You know, that's kind of what I'm thinking about too.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the thing though with I, that's the thing about Palantir. They're not really getting bigger. They're just getting more money
Mm,
because they haven't really been expanding. They haven't put no building. They haven't. I pay attention to their employment page on their website. They have a little bit of employment there to get people training on their products and stuff. And it hasn't really blown up.
mm,
I would expect if you get a big government contract, you're going to be hiring a couple thousands of people, right? Nope. They're still in like 20 page right there. I'm like, why aren't they hiring? But who
yeah.
knows? I don't know. But all I know is that the rule of 40 is just off the chart. And I don't think there's been a company that's been up that high.
Oh, interesting. Here it is for Amazon and Nvidia, by the way. Amazon price to sales is 3. Nvidia's is 100. Or sorry, Palantir's is 100. Nvidia is pretty high too, but not that crazy, right? Even in 2021, it was 26 price to sales. That was still quite high. That's still, 26 price to sales is still pretty damn high. But
mhm.
it's been pretty consistent over the years. So yeah, it stayed around that. Okay, so how do you guys think about trading these things? What kind of strategy do you guys want to try out?
Um, yeah, that's where I'm lacking on my knowledge on that one. I have a strategy, but I just don't know how to implement it onto into a bot.
Well, Worth's vote was to copy you. So
But I told everybody, I was like, hey, look, I told everybody I have a successful strategy, but not a bot strategy.
yeah.